80% of successful people are self-made. Took a lot of sacrifices. He had to go search for investors, work, sell. Sales is the only job where we can be self-made. But the thing is, like, there's a reason for you to be alive. That's kind of like the whole idea. And it's not money for sure. It's just that you're placed in a system where you have to take care of people in a specific way. And actually admitting that today is like a brand new thing that I'm doing, and I'm just like learning myself to do it. It removes a lot of that unnecessary thinking and unnecessary feelings. In short, if we talk about stress from cold calls, it usually goes out in all different ways to people. And the worst thing that it can go out to is to the family and to the business. That's the worst thing that I can say. So for me, if I have something like this that will stress me out in work, because it always happens. If there's somebody that tells that this doesn't happen, it's like then they are for sure taking it out on the business or on the family or on both. So it's good to, I usually like do it with a lot of training and a lot of spa. As you guys said, you do sports as well. So it's good that you do it. But my point is, it's mandatory, in my opinion, to do it more, basically. Sometimes, you can have something like this, but it's not a good idea. But you have to do it and sacrifice yourself if you really don't want to put it out on the business or on the family. If you don't sacrifice it on yourself, then you're going to sacrifice somebody else. And I do these topics about cold calling and about resilience for you guys and everybody that I speak with, because I really do care about you guys. And that's why I have this business. For me, it actually would be, I have like partnerships, as I said, like with investors. I've sent, let's say, to even to and to some other companies when I have a request from investors, and I'm like, hey, do you have like 5 megawatt installation somewhere, 2 megawatts? Because I'm not going to have time to work with industrial, right? I'm not going to go and look and go and do all of that. But actually, it would be probably a little bit easier for me. I've even seen it like much easier if I just work on the sector like this and just do installations. Instead of that, I prefer to just connect investors because it's quicker, it's usually a bigger deal, and also it allows me to do something that I like to do, which is work with the salespeople. And when I say that I care about, like, let's say a random team, because at the end of the day, we don't know each other really, I've seen like in their eyes that it's difficult for them to believe that a stranger would really care about how they feel, about how they get the results for their family to support themselves, about how they treat the business. And I think this is normal, because in reality they are right 90% of cases, if not more. Like 9 out of 10 people would really not care. Maybe I'm a trainer or a manager or an owner of a company, and really I wouldn't really care so much about it if I'm a different person. And I think that this is like a really lost art and lost values of people in today's world. And I'm saying this because I really want you to understand that when I say something nice or something that is constructive, like a criticism, it's really there to help you. It's not there to me to basically tell you, hey, I'm right, do what I tell you. This is not the case. I would like you to know. It's not that. I'm actually just like really explaining something that's much easier to get results. And also, if you guys take it like this for yourself, not for me or somebody else, but for yourself, you would for sure have a much better time, because at the end of the day, you would have a lot more achievements and you would feel like you're doing something. Me, myself, at least, if I just look at myself, there was a really nice quote, which is from a billionaire. And I think that it's not that bad to listen to people that have done something. And it was from a billionaire that comes from zero. It's a lot of, by the way, I don't know if you have read statistics or looked at this, but 80% of multimillionaires are self-made. Do you know that? 80%, more than 80% are self-made. A lot of people like to make excuses and say, yes, but his father, his mother, his blah, 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 blah. Yes, but not. Because actually there's not so many wealthy families out there. 80% of successful people are self-made. Took a lot of sacrifices. He had to go search for investors, work, sell. Sales is the only job where we can be self-made. And I think it's a shame if a person doesn't understand that, because what this billionaire said, it's an old guy. He said a lot of people complain about the price of winning, but wait until they get the bill for regret. This is what he says, because the bill for winning comes today. And I can choose what it's gonna be. Maybe you can choose today, like really to like work your ass off, 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, or 1 hour. Still, you can make like a lot of deals in 1 hour. Or you can choose to wait, and there's like this interest, like on credit, that comes in. And then maybe when we are all 60, 70, 80 years old, then it like really sometimes would hit hard, because we all have. I don't have kids, but for sure, you have. Uh, I'm not sure. I think you don't. Yeah, and then they have grandkids, and then you see like
This is why my what says I have that I have kids. Yeah.
yeah, I get that. I get that. You know, we're all men. Like we're men here. That's also one of the reasons that I like to get in teams in general, girls and guys, because it's like a different communication when you have in a team. Different polar opposites. It keeps people intact. Like it reminds them of something. It's not so much that you're gonna do something with them or talk, but it reminds you of some stuff that otherwise you forget. And we don't admit to ourselves in the daily life, because there's a lot of stuff that makes us zombies. We don't admit to ourselves how big of a deal, how big of a interest rate a regret has. And later, if today we have time to fix it, later we don't have time to fix it. And I'm a believer. It's not like you die and disappear. I believe in, my God, Jesus Christ. I don't know if you guys are believers. Maybe not. Maybe yes. Everybody like chooses. But the thing is, like, there's a reason for you to be alive. That's kind of like the whole idea. And it's not money for sure. It's just that you're placed in a system where you have to take care of people in a specific way. And if in the past, because we're all alive, obviously, if you're alive, you are coming 100% guaranteed from a bloodline where your grandfathers were surviving and sacrificing stuff. And in the past, they would go to wars with blood and weapons. Today, we go to financial wars. That's why I mentioned that video. People don't admit that they are in a financial war. They think that everything's fine and dandy, even though like their CEO can fire them every day, or there can be a recession, or there can be any type of a event that can hit them hard, and there's nothing else that they can do at that point. And this is not about making everything like super serious, but it's also not about ignoring it, for sure. So I count on you guys, and I think that you should count on yourself, that you understand exactly what I'm saying and why I'm saying this, because it's only with good intentions. And otherwise, really, if you don't, you are actually just doing it against yourself, not against the training or against the cold calling or against like the clients or something else. It's just like you're playing against yourself. And in many, by the way, in all cases, not in many, in all cases that I've seen with people, including with me, actually it's always about the one step. It's not, a lot of people take it when you say do cold calls or call or try to use this method that I'm telling you how to ask. They think it's like 180 degrees, like you have to turn like this, 180. We're actually just talking about one step, like one small step like this, just one change. The thing is, like, people like to expand it and make it like right now your life is going to dramatically kill you because now it's like a lot more work or something. That, like, this is not it. The best advice, because I do consulting contracts for some owners that trust me because I'm 30 years old. Like, there's owners that would say, who the fuck are you to teach me? I get it, no problem. I think that when you get the chance to give advice and to analyze somebody and you care about them, you care about how they behave and what they do, anybody can consult. Because you have, as long as you're smart, you have critical thinking, you don't need the most amount of experience to do it. And I have experience and you guys have experience, so you for sure can do it as well. The the point is, the best advice that I've given to owners that I've seen works really well. A lot of the owners have 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience, even workers, salespeople, they have 20 years, 30 years of experience, some of them. The best advice that I've given them is just imagine that you're starting fresh today. Imagine that you're starting the business, for instance, when I tell them today, because when they were really starting the business, they really behaved in a different way for them to go from 1 employee to 5 to 50 employees. They really had a different mindset. And then when the stress comes into the body and it goes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they start zombifying themselves, as I said, and they forget about that. And actually admitting that today is like a brand new thing that I'm doing, and I'm just like learning myself to do it, it removes a lot of that unnecessary thinking and unnecessary feelings that we usually get as people with everything that we do. Do you guys agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all about, basically, in short, it's not about being Tony Robbins, like a motivational speaker, but there's also kind of like a reason for a lot of those people to have such a high success. Many of the people that go to motivational speakers, for instance, they use it as an excuse, for sure. Like I've only one time I've gone because somebody bought me like a ticket as a present. And I went there, I was like, okay, let's see it. And I saw the guys actually saying I was super skeptical. I don't like people like this because they talk general. But I saw a lot of people that go there that didn't even either understand it or they use it as a coping mechanism. So it's kind of like your choice how you would do it.
Clients flock, they know who to trust. Revenue popping, bank busting, robust.